everyone, my name is Holden Hardman. Thank you so much for joining me again for another video. I know you guys have been waiting a long time for us to finish off the Wolverine and the X-Men movies. We're going to be doing the Wolverine today. Next week will be Logan. Highly anticipated. I'm looking forward to getting into that one. I have only seen the Wolverine, I think, one time. I remember liking it, but I don't know if it has had like a whole lot of, I don't know where it stands with the rest of the fandom. I remember liking it. I remember you kind of liked it, and I thought it just sort of went away and died off. But since we've been doing more X-Men stuff, I have been hearing a lot of people talk really highly of it. So I don't know where everyone stands. I remember enjoying it, but I only saw it the one time many years ago. Pastor, you're the biggest Wolverine fan here. From what you remember and going into it, how are you feeling?
The Wolverine kind of was a little muted, I guess, or quiet. The movie was fine for me. I think it had a lot of nods to the fans of the comics and stuff. As far as my opinion on it, I think it didn't have to be made, to be honest. It was kind of just like a fan service thing. For me, I enjoyed it. Obviously, anytime Hugh Jackman dons the claws again, I'm all for it. But I remember it being okay. It's the one I've seen the least of the three, so I don't know how I feel about that because of my thoughts on X-Men Origins. But yeah, I think it's an okay movie. I'm excited to see it again. I don't remember anything about it, to be honest.
Jen is here today, another My Friend Watches, so that's really, really good. Has not seen it, so looking forward to that. What do you think going into it?
Well, this will be the third film that I've seen with the Wolverine character. I really liked, of course, the first X-Men. I'm hoping to eventually see the other films with that character in it, but I thought Origins was pretty good, so I'm excited to see this. I really do like that character. I feel like he has multiple layers, so I'm very excited to see it.
Jenna, as a huge fan of Huge Jacked Man, how are you feeling going into the Wolverine?
I feel like I've liked the less popular ones better than everyone else, so I'm kind of excited. Hopefully I like this a lot. If he takes his shirt off, it'll be a 10 for me, so.
Jeremy, you always have great insight when it comes to these movies. What do you think going into it?
So we're missing X-Men Origins, but I would be holding it up right now and say, woof, this movie really stinks. We'll put it in post. This one right here, it's like, This one right here, This one is definitely Mangold doing a Western. This is definitely Mangold doing a Eastern samurai film, and I really dig. Mangold did both of them. This was his kind of first shot at it, and I think he really treats the character with reverence and some of my favorite Wolverine storylines, which take place in Japan. So I'm a big fan of this movie. It's 2/3 really good, but we'll talk about it afterwards.
And lastly, Matt, you loved Origins. I was so happy that you liked it as much as you did. What are you thinking going into the Wolverine?
Been a minute since we've actually done a My Friend Watches. Very glad to be back. Missed you all. Love you all.
Love you.
Happy holidays. I don't have high hopes, and I think it's just because what's been leading up to this. I love the Wolverine character. I love Hugh Jackman, but I don't have high hopes. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen. These movies have sucked. Let's go.
All right, let's get into it. The Wolverine.
Jesus. He looks incredible! Where were you? God, she's back again?
No! No, she! No!
Is that the Revenant behind him? What the hell's happening?
Yeah. That's a good reference, man, actually.
It's a good movie.
Go kill some animals. And a man.
You're the one who was attacked by the grizzly?
I'm the one that survived.
Oh.
And that's a poison, broadhead, which last I heard was illegal.
I don't know what you're talking about, because I don't dip my arrows in anything.
In that case, you got nothing to worry about. That hurt.
Like so.
Who are you?
Me? I'm Yukio. My employer wanted you to have it.
Who's your employer?
Master Yoshida. He knows that you're a busy man. But he very much wants to say his goodbye in person.
All right, where is he?
Tokyo.
One day. I say goodbye to Mr. Yashida and I come right back. So you can see the future?
We don't all have claws.
That's a bucket list place.
Japan? Yeah, I want to go to Japan so bad.
Dude, it's funny watching this movie. You see those masks and you're like, oh, that's weird to us.
Asia, yeah, they got the jump on that.
Yeah.
Shizu and Saki are going to disinfect you. Give you a shave.
Like hell they are.
Get in a tub.
There he is.
How's that for your medical stuff?
Some Wakanda stuff there.
For many years, I have wanted to thank you for saving my life. I wanted to repay you. Eternity can be a curse. I can end your eternity. Fall in love. Have a family. Grow old. And one day die an ordinary death. You don't want what I've got.
Oh.
That lighting's really cool. Very intentional. Hot and cold.
Look at you, Matt. Matt.
I've been hiding this the whole time. I'm a movie genius, actually. Somebody in the comments, I want to know how accurate this is for a funeral, for this culture. I want to know. Oh!
Oh. That's nice.
It's Jeremy.
Give it up for this guy who's like going the distance right now.
I'm not getting better, not like before. She did this to me.
What is she supposed to be? Poison Ivy? He's a good looking dude.
He really is.
She's attractive too.
Yeah, she is pretty.
And Jeremy coming in here.
Jeremy reminding us that we're straight.
Where are they taking her? Where are they taking her?
All I can see is one part of a person's life. Their death. I see you on your back. There's blood everywhere. You're holding your own heart in your hand.
Jesus.
How did you know there's a pool down there?
I didn't.
Oh god, I hate it.
I gotta get that thing out of me.
Please, no! No,
Ow, ow.
Don't hit my friends. Mutation? God's mistake! You tried to kill your daughter. Live with that. What kind of monster are you? The Wolverine.
Adamantium samurai suit. Is that what I'm piecing together here?
I'm gonna get her.
We are grateful for your protection of Mariko, but there is one more sacrifice you must make for her family.
Go fuck yourself, pretty boy.
Oh.
Where is she? Where's Mariko? Where is she?
Where's Mariko?
No!
With you at my side, I survived Nagasaki. Surely I could survive this? Your mistake was to believe that a life without end can have no meaning. It is the only life that can.
It's me, your grandfather.
I buried my grandfather. Mariko said we can go wherever we want. Just say where.
Let's just start with up.
Oh my gosh.
Human forces building a weapon that could bring about the end of our kind.
Why would I trust you?
Oh, that's so dope.
As I told you a long time ago, you're not the only one with gifts.
Was that supposed to be the teaser for Days of Future Past?
Mm-hmm. Dude,
There it is.
There it is. Alternate
I
ending.
don't know if the sound bar was on.
I wish they would have used this, because
What's this?
Open it.
that's the outfit he wore in the comic.
Can't a nerd dream?
Yeah. Oh, dude. They should have used that ending.
Just finished watching The Wolverine. I did not remember anything about this movie. There was a lot that I liked. There were a lot of really cool sequences that I liked. To me, this one was like a fun one to rewatch because it really was like watching it for the first time for me. It's because I didn't remember anything. I really liked the whole World War II kind of angle that they went, where you got to see him kind of, in a way, kind of connected to X-Men Origins because we know that he was there. So it's cool seeing him like captured and saving the Japanese soldier. And then when he's older and Logan's still young and he's like, I owe you. And then to add to like the twist at the end. I wasn't crazy about the end fight with him and the giant robot before I knew or realized that the guy was in it. It reminded me a lot of the fight at the end of Iron Man, actually, where Iron Man's fighting big robot thing, and then they throw in the little twist that the guy's in there too. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I don't know. I want to piggyback off of some of what you guys have to say. Jeremy, I want to start with you. How did you feel going into The Wolverine?
You're gonna hear me say this about all kinds of movies. It's really tough to stick the landing. Like, I really like the setup of this movie, all of the Japanese cultural stuff, this kind of melding of two worlds, which is very true to Japanese culture from the way that I understand it. You've got this very traditionalist kind of ideology and practices mixed with a really technologically advanced civilization, and they kind of represent both of these things well in it. I just feel like if they test grouped it before Super Shredder shows up, that audiences would be like, this isn't enough of an X-Men movie. I feel like there's a certain point where the movie should have ended, and it's when Wolverine says, you know, you tried to have your daughter killed, you have to live with that. And then the last little battle, he gets killed, and that's the end of the movie. But no, they had to stick us with that stupid Viper character who is just laughable throughout. And then when Super Shredder shows up at the end, I'm like, this was 2/3 of a really dope movie, and then the expectation. And this is a symptom of all sorts of movies in general, superhero movies in particular, and it's not exclusive to the Wolverine even in this trilogy. So yeah, it's like, I really want to love it. I like 2/3 of it a whole lot. Hugh Jackman's awesome in it. Oh, and if you guys like Huge Jacked Man, then maybe you'll like Famke. Damn, son. That's my contribution for today, because like however they de-aged her in this, not Famke Janssen. You guys get it. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, 2/3 of a really good movie. That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree with the 2/3 of a good movie thing. I struggled a little bit with the train sequence. I kept kind of coming out of it because as cool as it still was kind of cartoony, I guess, at some parts. My biggest issue, I guess, I'm trying to really nail what my problem with it was, because like you said, there was so much that I liked about it, but I think that they just couldn't commit to like a singular villain or like a particular cause, because they're fighting the robot dude, and I don't like that. I don't like my final battle be between something I don't care about. Viper did not care. They didn't, not that I don't care, but they just didn't set her up right, and I don't know her character enough to care, I guess. They tried, I guess, to interject the twist with the guy really being the bad guy, the Japanese dude. And then there's like the whole, the girlfriend has her fiance and she's cheating on him, but then the guy that I've lived with since I was forever kissed her out of nowhere, and that's never brought up again. I did have some issues with the ending, but like you said, man, there was so much setup that was so good. Jen, since we've watched just a handful of X-Men movies, this is your second Wolverine movie. How did you feel about it?
I agree with everybody else about the 2/3 being decent. First off, it was hard for me to keep track of like the relationships. I kept asking myself, like, who's he again to her? Is that the boyfriend? Is that the grandfather? That was really hard for me. The robot fight scene, I just fell flat for me. The one thing that I did like was the irony of Logan both saving the grandfather's life and taking his life at the end. I did really like that. Venom was just a joke to me.
Viper.
Or whatever her name is, like Venom Viper. I really didn't think that there was a place for her in the movie. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And even at the end, I didn't understand how the grandfather and Viper woman or whatever, whoever she is, and then the ex-boyfriend, I didn't understand how they all kind of correlated together. Did he hire her to help? Like, I was just lost on that. With Jean, I was a little lost on that just because I don't know the backstory. I know something happens, pretty big significance between Wolverine and Jean, but I don't know what that is.
You haven't seen X3 yet.
Well, now I know that he kills her, but I don't know the backstory behind that. Those are my thoughts.
We saw X-Men Origins last time. It's been 3 weeks since then. Jenna, your thoughts on the Wolverine now that you've seen it, and your feelings from how you felt about the Wolverine, and compare that to how you felt about X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I have to ask a clarifying question. Yeah. Y'all keep saying the Wolverine. Is it because there's another movie called Wolverine?
No, but X-Men Origins Wolverine. So they'll sometimes shorten it to Wolverine. So this is
okay. Okay. Just to kind of tag on to what everyone else said, like it kind of felt like an infomercial where they're like, but there's more. There were too many layers. Y'all already said it, but like it would have been a good ending to the son story if he wouldn't have come back and like stabbed Logan. Like if he just would have ended it there, like you have to live with trying to kill your daughter. The robot didn't make sense. Like it was too many avenues. The main storyline between Logan and Mariko, is that her name? Was a great storyline. The ending seemed weird. I like the alternate ending much better, even though it wasn't a whole lot more to the story. It just seemed like it was just kind of a cliffhanger, like a weird cliffhanger, not like I want to see the next one. Just kind of like, what? And then Viper's powers didn't make sense to me until the very end, that she's supposed to be a snake, I guess. Like
she spits on her finger and then stabs her.
Yeah, but then sometimes she doesn't. It just comes out of her weirdly long nails.
But she's also into bugs and then putting that on the heart. So
yeah, like that whole story didn't make sense. Like why did the grandpa have that on his heart but he lived, but then Logan had one but he was like losing his power? Just a lot. There's just too many weird details that weren't explained that kind of lost me on the main storyline.
Spider-Man 3, right?
Watch it. So how would you compare this one to Origins?
That one had a lot of weird storylines too, but at least Origins explained some of my questions from the other movies. This one was just kind of forced it to fit into his backstory because none of this really correlated with details from the other movies. So I liked Origins better, I think.
Pastor, you're a huge Wolverine fan, like we've said many, many times. You were in the same boat as me kind of with this one, where you saw it once, didn't really remember a whole lot. Seeing it again, what did you think?
So overall, as a movie, I really didn't like it at all. I remember as soon as the intro got done with the World War II Nagasaki setup, I remembered, I was like, wait a minute, why did I not like this movie? That was awesome that he saved them the way he did. Then it got to the point where it was the storyline about taking his healing factor away and all that, and I'm like, that's why I hated this movie. I did watch it once all the way through. Since then, I think I've put it out a couple times, and then I was just like, nope, can't do it. I love the Japanese culture. I am a huge fan of samurai ninjas, that whole deal. I did like that because, as Jeremy said in the intro, Wolverine does have a lot of Japanese comic books and storylines and ties to it. With that one comic, he like loses his claws for some reason, kind of like in this one, and has to use a katana. So I was expecting that. The imagery was great. I liked the settings and everything like that. Like everyone here said, the story was just all over the place. Like I am pretty good with names and characters and stuff like that, and I was having a hard time discerning who was the boyfriend and who was this person, and pretty much whoever wasn't Logan or the chick with the red hair, I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I think this movie ultimately was James Mangold's attempt to rectify Origins and how it was just laughable, because it had the same feel. Like he was trying to tell a story and tie everything together, but it just didn't. It was just still too convoluted. It just didn't work. From a fan service perspective, it was a good movie. I liked it from that point, but as far as like a good Wolverine movie, it's probably maybe a point or two higher than Origins, which isn't saying much, unfortunately.
Wow. A lot of hot takes. I thought that this was considerably better than Origins, at least the first 2/3 of it. The ending, arguably, maybe not, but I thought that overall this was a better movie. Let us know what you think in the comments about that down below. Matt, your thoughts on the Wolverine?
What's a hot take? I'm not gonna dive into the points that were already made because it's been echoed a lot, but I agree. They were very intentional in showing the Wolverine's pain. Like they really did a lot of close-ups, figuratively and literally, of his pain, which I think was very smart to highlight. I was confused at one point when he got stabbed like 6 times until I realized that the Froppy Loppy that they had him drink, the green tea, like started suppressing his powers. I like that they very clearly, point blank said it. You guys know me. Here's a point that not many people are gonna care about, but I love. He looked fantastic in this, and he was lean, yes, but he very much dropped muscle. It's either he dropped muscle for it, or they were very intentional on making him look smaller, and that was only when he was mortal. When he had all of his powers in the beginning and towards the end, he was much bigger. Even in the hole, they had much more upward angles, very glorious, large, making him look larger. I feel like that was not an accident at all. Check out my Hugh Jackman video, reviewed him, did all that. This felt like a soap opera at times. There was so much talking, it was very slow to start. Believe it or not, I didn't hate it though. Screw that scene, the asystole scene where you just flat lines and like all you hear in the background is beep, beep, beep. First of all, no one cares, but you have to have electrodes on to even be reading that you have an ECG on his
equipment. They were using equipment that was beyond what we use now.
Such crap. The whole slicing myself open and getting the butt. Oh my lord, just terrible. Not one person thought of CPR. Nobody died in this movie. Everybody kept coming back. Even old grandpa was like, oh, he's on his deathbed. He's on his deathbed. Who would buy one of those? Nobody dies. Again, it takes away so much from me to know that there's no gravity to death. There was one scene where I think it was not Granddad, but Dad was in the samurai suit, and then he stabs Logan. Logan kills him, and then he pulls the sword out. Yeah. Very side shot, very much showing pulling it back out. I wonder if that might not have been like a very intentional nod to the honor piece of stabbing yourself. Does that make sense? Some of the lines just did not land. There was a handful of times Logan was like, I'm gonna get her. Like, that's all they could come up with in that moment. Like, he was talking about, I'm gonna go get her whenever he's getting attacked in the town right before it started. And it just, there were so many things like that that just, I don't know, the weak ending. Having said all that, I did not hate this movie. I really didn't. I thought it was okay. Well, you know, there was one moment where he was like, I'm the Wolverine. That landed. Great job. Gave me goosebumps. I think I was the only one that reacted to that, but I loved it.
All right, let's give our ratings of this. For me, I would give the Wolverine 6.5.
I would say 5.5.
5.5. Jeremy, what about you?
Let's be real, first of all, every one of these X-Men movies is like a pilot that failed. Like, every single one of them tries to start the X-Men universe and fails. I want to push it a little higher. Normally, Holden and I are on the same page. I want to go 6.75.
Oh, okay. All right. Edgy. Pastor, what about you?
So I've said it many times that a wash for me is a 5 out of 10 because it didn't annoy me and it didn't wow me either. This movie did have a lot of good things going for it, a lot of redeeming qualities from the previous Wolverine movie, so it's definitely not going to be a 5, but I can't give it more than like a 6.5 just because for me, it just didn't do anything but serve as like a pretty Wolverine painting that was moving.
A really good movie can be totally undone by its ending, and a mediocre movie can be saved by its ending, and this is the case where it was a solid movie through, but didn't stick the landing, as Jeremy said. It's the same issue we had with Dexter. It's one of our favorite shows. Such a great series that had I heard it's coming back with a failed ending, but really it's a great show. Jenna, what would you rate the Wolverine?
I forgot to say this earlier. The best part of this movie was the return of the bone claws. It was fantastic. Still though, 5.5.
Matt, I can already tell. What would you rate this?
Having said that, I give this a 6.5.
We are in real time gonna go straight into, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna go straight into Logan. You'll have to wait next week unless you're a patron, in which case it will be available early for you. So if you'd like to join Patreon, now would be a great time so you can see us react to Logan early. That's it, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like. Again, comment down below letting us know what you think of all of our thoughts and opinions on the Wolverine. Looking forward to seeing you next week for Logan. As always, we appreciate you watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care.